Earlier today, an Iranian missile hit an Israeli hospital, wounding 240 but killing none. 4 were injured seriously, according to reports. Given the extent of the damage, it's hard to believe that no one was killed. The hospital attack is, of course, just one ripple of human tragedy in the ongoing stream of human tragedy that restarted in earnest after the October 7 attacks by Hamas in 2023. Israel first looked close to home, Gaza and Lebanon, and engaged Iranian-backed Hamas and Hezbollah. Now Israel has taken the fight directly to Iran. As I write, pillars of smoke are rising from the sprawling urban expanse that is Tehran. Far to the south, the USS Nimitz lurks off of the Iranian coast, poised and full of lethal potential energy. If Trump says the word, the bowstring will be released, and with it the nearly full force of the carrier battle group, but Trump hasn't given the word yet. Why? We'll bet because many people who are positively inclined towards Trump are saying very publicly no to a U.S. war with Iran. Among those raising hell are Tucker Carlson, who did a really uncomfortable interview with Ted Cruz focused on Israel and Iran, Charlie Kirk, and even Steve Bannon, though he seems to be wavering a bit. We are neutral on Trump, though many of our more liberal readers will say this isn't true, and we also argue that direct U.S. intervention into Israel's war with Iran is highly unwise. It is Israel's war. It is not our war. We are generally friends to Israel. We believe that the attacks on October 7 were extraordinary and that an extraordinary response was warranted. That is all we will say. But Iran? Israel and many policy people in Washington, particularly the neoconservatives, have long wanted to go after Iran and to take out the government there. These are the same neoconservatives who got us involved in Iraq. The Iranian government is horrible. Born in the Shia Islamic Revolution of 1979, Iran, Persia, would be a much better place if the regime was gone, in an ideal world. But should U.S. soldiers die in an effort to depose the current regime? Would you send your son or daughter to die in an effort to take out the Ayatollahs? If we were Israeli, this would be a tougher question. Israel is under threat from Iran. Would a nuclear-armed Iran pose an existential threat to Israel? Yes, absolutely. But are we under obligation to eliminate this threat for the state of Israel? We say no. We are fully aware of what that means. If Iran was to become nuclear capable, and if it was to launch an attack against Israel, we would have little choice realistically of not being drawn in. But we must remember that Israel has been a nuclear power, though they still do not admit it publicly, for 60 years. It has lots of nukes. In addition to state-of-the-art jets that can deliver such weapons, Israel also has submarines capable of launching nuclear-tipped missiles. That means that if there was a nuclear exchange initiated by Iran, the chance of Iran winning any such conflict would basically be nil, because the Israelis have second strike capability. Their subs would launch a devastating barrage that would vaporize vast swathes of Iran and essentially end the country as a country. And this is assuming that Iran could even deliver a nuke in a first strike without detection. There is pretty much no scenario where Iran wins in a nuclear conflict. Even still, we can understand why Israel wants to remain the only nuclear power in the neighborhood. It is often said that Israel can't afford to lose a war. If it loses, it ceases to exist. If Iran was able to lob or deliver even just one nuclear weapon and detonate it, tiny Israel would have very little ability to absorb such a blow. But again, given Israel's vast, for its size, nuclear state capability, and especially its second strike capability, subs under the ocean, far from a nuclear-attacked Israel, it is hard to see how Iran could win, even though it is a much larger country both in terms of population and geographical size. Israel would lay Iran to waste. Regardless, we come back to the question of whether U.S. citizens should die in a war that belongs to Israel. Again, we say no. We've spilled enough blood in the deserts of that region. We have had enough vets come back and suffer with PTSD and in some cases, far too many cases, take their own lives. This is Israel's fight. Israel should finish it if it can. But we should not finish it for them.